to continue with our topic. Among the rights of our loved ones, the deceased, when they die, is that we are kind to their friends. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, whenever he used to slaughter a sheep, he used to send parts of it to his wife's friends, Khadija, may Allah be pleased with her. She died, but he used to send parts of it to her friends, and he used to say, this woman was a friend of Khadija, give her this. This woman was a friend of Khadija, give her that. So if we have a deceased relative, we also should honor their friends out of honoring our deceased loved one. Ibn Umar, may Allah be pleased with him, once he was on his mule when he met a nomad, a Bedouin from the A'rab. So he stood up and talked to him for a while, and after finishing talking with him, he gave him his turban and his mule as a gift and walked away. So Ibn Umar's companion said to him, may Allah have mercy on you. If you give him, a few coins, he would have been more than happy. Why did you give him all of this? Your own turban, your own mule. He said, his father was a friend of my father, Umar. So I wanted to honor my late father, because the Prophet said, alayhi salatu wassalam, in an authentic hadith, the best way of being dutiful to your deceased parents is to be kind to their loved ones. So you as well, if you have a deceased father, a deceased mother, and you know that they used to be friends with people, you be kind to them. You contact them. You call them. If you financially are capable, you give them gifts. This is part of being dutiful to your parents after their death. And this is the exact hadith of the Prophet ﷺ. A man came to him and said, O Prophet of Allah, my parents are dead. Is there anything left for me to do in order to be dutiful to them? He said, yes. You make dua for them. You ask Allah for forgiveness for them. You execute whatever they said before their death. Yani, I want you to do this, I want you to do that. You execute that. And you honor their friends. And to connect to your kinship, that you don't have any kinship other than from their side. So these are the 5 things that the Prophet commanded us, alayhi salatu wassalam, to do. Among the rights of our deceased is whenever we pass by a graveyard to give salam. So the sunnah, when you enter a graveyard, you read the salam by saying, Assalamu alaikum dara qawmin mu'minin, antumus sabiqun, wa nahnu al-lahiqun, nas'alullaha lana wa lakum al-afiyah. Oh, peace be upon you, O house of the believers. You are first and we are following. We ask Allah Azza wa Jal for afiyah, for well-being for you and for us. This is the sunnah. And visiting the graveyards is a sunnah. And what is the use of visiting graveyards? Number 1, to give salam. Number 2, to make dua for the deceased. Number 3, to remember that this is where you're going to be soon. The deceased, can we mourn him? Can we mourn the deceased? Some say no. Some say no. Why? Why can't we mourn the deceased? It is a sunnah to mourn the deceased. What is the meaning of mourning the deceased? Is to feel sad, to avoid doing things that express happiness, such as attending a wedding or wearing perfume for women. This is part of mourning, and this is permissible only for 3 days, except for a widow. A woman who's widowed, she is obliged to mourn her husband for 4 months and 10 days if she's not pregnant. If she's pregnant, her mourning would be until she delivers. So if she's 1 month pregnant and her husband dies, she mourns him until she delivers, 8 months. She's in mourning. But us normal human beings, if someone dear to us dies today and we are invited to a wedding, we can skip. This is part of halal mourning for 3 days, to be sad. But after 3 days, khalas, we have to resume normal activities. And part of the rights of our loved ones, of our deceased people, is that we avoid haram. What types of haram are there? What is haram when a person dies? Wailing. What is wailing? To have a high pitch of crying. Also, complaining. He's my husband, he's my this, he was my supporter, he was my rock, he's the only one who provided for me. Also, slapping the face, tearing the clothes, pulling the hair. In my case, you don't have any, but any expression of disapproval is considered to be objecting to Allah's decree. And this is haram and a major sin. The Prophet said, those, alayhi salatu wasalam, who slap their faces or tear their clothes or call with the calling of the ignorance, they are not from us. So this is a major sin. Among the practices that many Muslims do when a person dies, they feed the mourners for 3 days. So my father dies, I open my house, I cook food. Anyone who's coming, I give them food, drinks, and feasting them. This is not permissible. This is haram. The opposite is what is supposed to be. You bring food to the people who were struck by such a calamity and a disaster, not the other way around. And also, among the innovations found is to dedicate a particular period. Some countries, they have what is known as al-arba'in, the 40 days. So after 40 days of the death of their deceased, they throw a feast, they make food. After 1 year, the anniversary of his death, they make food. I don't know why they're making food. Yeah, it's part of the diet, or I don't know. But all of this is innovation and part of wailing. The companions used to consider gathering on the food because of the deceased as part of wailing, and it is not permissible. I've concluded my material and my subject for today, but the organizer said you paid money, so I have to make it worthwhile. Now, in terms of inheritance, I have few points, not many, then we will have the questions and answers, inshallah, session starting immediately afterwards. I do counseling, and a lot of the problems found is because of the trust. The father dies. All the siblings appoint one brother to be their representative, and the brother eats everything. He has a power of attorney. He sells property and takes the money. He goes to the bank account and takes the money. So unfortunately, the nature of people is revealed at the wrong time. And it's a very hefty price to pay to reveal my brother's identity. I don't want to lose my brother. So don't put yourself in such a position. Trust your brother, but don't give him authority to deal freely, unquestioned about everything. Number two, so many problems happen just because one of the family members is stubborn, and as stubborn as a mule. We have the family property. Our father left us a house. Now, we're 6. I want my money. I want my share. They're not selling. Why? We want to preserve our father's property. Is this fair? Yes or no? It's my money. Allah gave me this money. And you say, no, we don't want to give. We don't want to sell. We want to preserve the heritage of the family. This is totally haram. Can I take them to court? Yes. So what is the best way? One of two. Either all of you 5 buy my share, give me the money, estimate how much the property is worth, X. What's my share? Y. Okay, you guys chip in and give me my share. Assalamu alaikum, I leave. Or we sell the property. There is no third solution. Sometimes they use pressure. So they say, no, our mother is living in the house. She's your mother. How do you want us to sell the house? Akhi, the house has 10 rooms. And she's living in the house. It's unfair. We sell the house. From our shares, we buy her a small apartment sufficient for her. No, she wants to live in the house. No, she has no right to block us from our right just because she wants to live in that house. I need my money. So Allah is the one who divided this wealth. No one can stand in his way. We have business. What should we do? We look in the interest of the family. If we want to continue the business, the revenue should be distributed according to the inheritance, the percentages. If one of us wants to bail out, we buy his share, exactly like the first incident. And this is justice and fairness. Now, some people want to distribute their inheritance while they're alive to avoid any conflict. Is this halal? Yes, and some so no. It's an issue of dispute among scholars, alhamdulillah. Yani, we can choose whatever we want. It is not inheritance if you're alive. How can you distribute it? And this is why scholars say you can divide your wealth But when you divide it while alive, it has to be a true division, not on paper. Because if a person says, after I die, I give this property to my son and this property to my daughter, once he dies, tear it apart and throw it in the dustbin. Why? This is a will. This is not a gift. What about if I say, I give my son 100,000, but I did not transfer it to his bank account? It's not a gift. Once I die, it's cancelled. A gift must be possessed. If I promise to give you something and I don't give it to you, it's not binding. It's cancelled. So, if I want to distribute my wealth in my life, I have to bring it. I go to my children and I give them in their hands or in their bank accounts, in their name, and I transfer it. Do I have to give my wife? No. This is not inheritance. So if I have $1 million, I can distribute it among my children and leave my wife out of it. Would I be doing haram? No. I'm not doing it intentionally to harm her. She's still living with me. We still have a property, or I'm still alive. Now, should I, giving such a division, be fair between the boys and the girls in the gift, or no, I have to give 2 shares to the boy, 1 share to the girl, as if it is inheritance? Equal. Some say, up to you. No, how can it be up to me? I'm alive. How can it be up to me? It's a gift, but okay, now we open another subject. I have 5 children. Can I give a gift to the eldest because he got first place in uni? Yes. Yes. Wrong. Now everybody's minds are going to turn. Ha ha ha. I like it when I do this. I'm so devilish evil. The Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam in the Sahih was approached by Al-Bashir ibn Sa'd. May Allah be pleased with him. Al-Bashir is a companion. He has a son. His name is An-Nu'man ibn Bashir. Very well-known companion. His hadith, Al-Halalu Bayyin, Wal-Haramu Bayyin, Wa-Baynahuma Umur. Very well-known. One of the pillars of hadith. So Al-Bashir gave his son a gift. Some say it was a slave. Some say it was a property. Al-Nu'man's mother said, oh, no. I'm not accepting this gift to my son. Go and make the Prophet ﷺ witness it, so that no one will speak in the future. So Al-Bashir went to the Prophet ﷺ, and he said, O Prophet of Allah, I gave my son An-Nu'man this gift. His mother said, you must testify and witness it. So the Prophet ﷺ asked him a very simple question. Do you have other children? Al-Bashir said, yes. The Prophet said, question number 2, have you given them all equal gift? Al-Bashir said, no. The Prophet said, then make someone else testify. I do not testify on dhulm, on injustice. In another hadith, and this is very important addition, he said, would you like them all to be equal in obedience and dutifulness? He said, yes. The Prophet said, then be equal in giving them gifts. Now, this is problematic because every one of us give differently to their children. And they cannot swallow the fact that this is haram. But I have to make a clarification. There is a difference between a gift and what is needed as providing, provision. So a gift is when I come in Eid and I go to all of my children, even to a 1 month old and 20 years old. 1 month old and 20 years old. Big difference. In Eid, we give Eidiyah. We give a gift. So I give each one 1,000 riyals. Even the 1 month old. This is a gift. I have to be equal. I come from travel. I once went to India, to Dr. Zakir, Jazakallah khair, and did some programs for his TV channel. And he said, you have to buy them gifts. So I went to buy them garments, traditional garments from India. I had to buy each and every one exactly the same money. Not a rupee more. It has to be the same, to be equal. This is gifts. Now, when it comes to the eldest goes to uni, and I have to give them money for the car, for the fuel, for the lunch, and the youngest goes to kindergarten, and I have to give them pocket money. I give this one 100, and this one I give 5. This is not a gift. One of them requires a surgery, cost me 15,000. I pay. The others don't come say, hey, ittaqillah, fear Allah, give us. He said, no problem. Go have a surgery, I'll give you. This is not a gift. You see the difference? So it's the same thing when you have 2 wives. One has 5 kids. She lives in a villa. The one doesn't have any kids. She lives in an apartment of 2 bedrooms. The one you give pocket money for groceries, 5,000. The other one you give 500. Because these are not gifts. But if you're traveling and coming back and buying perfume bottles, it has to be exactly to the riyal. And if there is a difference, I used to do this, by the way. It's caused so many headaches. I used to buy 300 riyals perfume bottle and 310. Different type. So I'd put 10 riyals and stitch it to the bottle and I give it to them. So this is the difference between gifts and provision and providing. Coming back to inheritance. Now I sold my property. I liquidated my stocks. I want to give my children. I have 2 boys and 2 girls. Should I give 4 shares to the boys and 2 shares to the girls? Or should I give 2? According to Sheikh bin Baz, Ibn Uthaymeen, and the scholars of Saudi Arabia, you have to give 4-2, like inheritance. According to Imam Baghawi and other scholars of Islam, they said, no, this is a gift. And the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ is crystal clear. Do you want them all to be equal in being obedient and dutiful? The man said, yes. Said, you have to be equal in gifts. So the same thing goes for the girls. It's a gift. Do you want her to be equal to the boy in being dutiful? Yes. Then give them gifts the same. And this is what I am inclined to. Boys and girls, when you are alive, you're giving a gift, they all have to be equal. No difference. The difference only when you die, because Allah stated in inheritance distribution that you have 2 shares for the boy, 1 share for the girl. So I hope this clarifies things and recalculates your thinking when it comes to favoring one boy because he's good at school and the other is not. This would cause injustice. You buy an MBX bicycle to the boy because he got good grades, and the other boy you buy him nothing. What will happen? The same what happened with Yusuf's siblings. They will throw him in the well because you were not fair. Be fair in your gifts. Now, we come to one of the famous issues that usually happens in families when distributing the wealth. A lot of the men are unfair and display a lot of injustice, especially in Arabia. Women cannot inherit. The property is only for the family. My name. Women will get married to someone else from another tribe, from another country, and he will not have a share in my house, in my property, in my land. So a lot happens of injustice with women, and this is haram. You cannot play around with inheritance of property just because you don't want other tribes, other families to share your property. When you die, it's not your property anymore. It belongs to the family. How to distribute? It is mentioned in Surah An-Nisa. The ayah is very simple. And the science of al-fara'id or al-mawarith is one of the first to be lost. The first science to be lost among the ummah is this science, because rarely you will find people working in it. And it needs practice. Rarely you will find people asking you questions, and it's very mathematical, very simple. So if a person dies, leaves only children, no parents, no spouse, he leaves only children. This is very easy. The children inherit everything. The division is 2 shares for the male and 1 share for the female. End of story. Very simple. He left a boy and a girl. 2/3 for the boy, 1/3 for the girl. Alhamdulillah. Okay, what if he has a spouse? If he has a spouse, then the spouse gets 1 of 2. Either she gets a quarter if he doesn't have any children, or she gets 1/8 if she has, if the deceased has children, not from her, from anyone else. So a man dies leaving a wife and a boy and a girl. The wife gets how much? 1/8. And the rest is divided by 3 shares. 2 for the boy, 1 for the girl. Khalas, end of story. So when we come to the issue of, no, the deceased had parents. Oh, no problem. So he had parents, and he had a wife, and he had a boy and had a girl. No problem. The wife gets 1/8. The father and the mother get 1/6, 1/6. And the rest is distributed between 3 shares, 2 for the boy, 1 for the girl. This is an easygoing way. What about if he did not have a boy? He had only 1 girl. Okay, no problem. The Quran says, if someone dies leaving 1 girl, she gets half. Whoa, the girl gets half? Yes. Okay, if he did not have 1 girl, he had 1 boy. The boy gets everything. Everything. If he did not have a father, a mother, and a spouse. But if he had a father and a mother and a spouse, we give them their percentage. 1/6, 1/6, 1/8, and the rest goes to the son. So, in inheritance, there are 2 ways of inheriting. Either by fard or by asaba. I translate this. How do you translate this? Fard is a percentage. And we have 6 percentages. Half and half of it. 1/3 and half of it. 1/4 and half of it. These are the 6 percentages. Half, who inherits with the half? The daughter. And? No, not the wife. The other one. The husband. When the wife dies, leaving no children, the husband gets half. If she had children and she died, the husband gets quarter. So half is inherited by these two. Either one daughter or a husband whose wife did not have any children. Half of it is what? A quarter. Who inherits by a quarter? Huh? The wife when? When the husband does not have any children. And the husband when the wife has children. If she did not have children, he would have half. Then we have, these are two, huh? Half and half of it. Then we go to the number 3, which is 1/3. Who gets 1/3? The parents, the mother, when the deceased has no children and one sibling only, one brother or one sister, she gets 1/3. If he has more than one siblings, automatically she gets 1/6, which is half of the third. The father gets 1/3 if he has no children, and the rest. But this is his fard. Who gets 1/6? The parents, the mother, if he has more than one sibling, and the father if he has children, because the father gets, like the mother, only 1/6. Anyone? Anything else? Another 1/6? في كمان? 6. Yeah, these are the two. Okay. Now the 5th percentage is what? No, 1/4, 1/4, and half of it. So 1/4. Who gets 1/4? The wife, if the deceased husband does not have any children, and the husband if the deceased wife had children. Who else? Nothing. Half of it is 1/8. Who gets 1/8? The wife, if, no, not she. He, if the husband, the deceased husband, had children, then she gets only 1/8. Noteworthy. Do you know what is the co-wife called in Arabic? The co-wife. If a man has 2 wives, what is the second wife called? In Arabic, it's called darra. Darra. What does darra means? From harm. Why is she called darra? Because if a man has 2 wives, each one of them gets half of 1/8. So both share 1/8. But if she was alone, she would get 1/8 for herself. She has a darra. She's harming her even after his death. So she's sharing 1/8. If they were 4, they would share 1/8. So imagine the percentage. This is why it's called in Arabic darra, because in his life and after his death, she does this to him. These are the 6 percentages allocated in the Quran. Okay. What did we say? One. I think we missed one, huh? Half and quarter. Yeah. We mixed it. Half and quarter, 2/3 and 1/3. There are 2/3. I did not mention. A quarter, I mentioned it twice. Yeah, this is wrong. Half and a quarter, 2/3 and 1/3, and quarter and 1/8. 2/3 are given to whom? No, son. Huh? if there left more than 2 or more daughters. If a deceased dies and he has 1 daughter, she gets what? Half. If he dies and he has 2 daughters or more, they get 2/3 of what he has left. 2/3. They participate, they take this much. This is called fard. Now, others of the heirs have what is known as ta'asib or asaba. They inherit the remaining. And who are these? The sons, the daughters, the father, the siblings, if he has no children and no father, the uncles, anyone who's related to him by name. So the wife and the husband, they inherit by percentage, by al-fard. The mother inherits by fard, either 1/6 or 1/3. The daughters, if there are no sons, they inherit by fard, half or 2/3. But if there is a son, no, their percentage is gone. They go by asaba, and so on. So, in a nutshell, this science is very nice and beautiful and easy. A little bit complicated, but once you get the hang of it, it becomes very easy for you to understand. And Allah Azza wa Jal knows best. وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا Muhammad. If you have any questions, you can go ahead and ask, inshallah, during the Q&A session.